Time to look back at the last Forge FC contest.
Simply stunning stuff. And finally, their goal.
Here is Match and Review.
My word, what a rocket.
With Anthony Urciuoli on the Forge Audio Network.
Hey, Forge fans, Anthony Urciuoli with you. Jessica Lisi is with us as well. This is the Match in Review. Forge FC with a 2-0 win at home over York United, clinching a playoff spot. Still plenty to play for. This one was a funny game. It wasn't the start that Forge wanted, and it wasn't until the second half that they really got going, I thought.
Yeah, this was definitely a game of two halves. You know, first half, Forge came out, they looked a little slow, it was a little sluggish. York definitely looked like they wanted it more, especially within that first 20 minutes or so. As the match went on, obviously they came out second half. They were able to bury 2 goals off those set pieces, but their energy was a lot better within that second half. So yeah, definitely a tale of two halves, I would say. Yeah,
and also two teams playing for different things. So Forge had something to play for.
Right.
York a little maybe more loose. They had already been eliminated from the playoffs, more so playing for pride. They looked like a team playing a little more loose. I know one thing, Forge coach Bobby Smyrniotis, who we'll hear from shortly. We're also going to hear from Malik Owolabi-Belewu, who scored his first ever pro goal here in the CPL. And we're also going to hear from David Choiniere, who played his 100th match today. But Bobby likes them going forward. You hear him yelling it. You can hear it on the broadcast. Forward, forward, forward. He always wants to go forward. But Forge was doing a lot of kind of stop, turn, back to the defense, and trying to play out the back and a little slower. And that's not how Forge plays. You wonder if that's a club that was just a little more, didn't want to make a mistake, maybe playing the careful pass by going backwards. And so maybe that reflects the fact that Forge had a little more on the line. There's a lot more pressure on them.
Yeah, definitely. That for sure played a role in the midfielders playing it safe. A lot of times you did see opportunities for those midfielders to go forward and take their space and create those attacking opportunities, but they felt that it was a lot safer to play back to their center backs or perhaps their goalkeeper. So you did see that a lot, and it did really play into their poor performance within that first half. But they definitely did pick it up in that second half and were able to create a few more chances. Not to say that they had a few good chances within that first half, but it definitely wasn't their cleanest.
All right, let's go down now and listen to Forge coach Bobby Smyrniotis and get his thoughts on the match. Just your thoughts on the match from start to finish, your kind of summary.
Yeah, 2 different halves. The first 45 minutes, not good, not terrible. We've actually created 3 very good chances, but there was no flow to what we were doing. And in the second half, we decided as a team that we were going to do what we wanted to do for the beginning of the match. We were very good on the ball and our movement, and that created a lot more for us and allowed us to dictate the play of the game.
Yeah, so Bobby not thrilled with the first half either, and second half they really got going. Tristan Henry made a huge stop right before the end of the half, and that's one of those, you make a note of that one, because if that goes in, it changes the second half completely, but he makes a big stop. And then Forge was the better team in the second half. Malik scoring his first ever goal as a member of Forge, the center back. And he spoke post-match, but before we listen to him, Bobby talked about the fact that header he scored off a set piece, and we'll talk more about set pieces in a second. That's something he does a lot in practice, in training. He gets up a lot. He winning those battles in the air as a center back are important, obviously. You think more so on the defensive side, but to be able to score goals as well. So here's Bobby talking about Malik's goal post-match.
Yeah, with Malik, one thing's for sure, he scores a lot in training off of set pieces. He's the guy that picks up everything, whether it's the first ball, the second ball, the rebound. He's got hunger for it, so it's great that he's gotten that goal. He's been an excellent player for us this year. He had a stretch earlier on in the season when he was playing, and doesn't matter who was healthy, he's not coming off the pitch. Had a little bit of an injury, kept him off, and so it's a great reward for him. It's another young player of ours who I think is doing fantastic work, along with Kwesi Pope, who's today's gotten his 3rd start in a row, and these guys have been excellent. And when we look at them, they're all of 19 and 20 years old each.
So Malik Owolabi-Belewu with the first goal for Forge. He spoke post-match. And Malik's mom actually played a pretty important role in this match. I'll let you listen.
I feel like it's been a long time coming. I had an opportunity kind of similar to that against Pacific at home quite a few games back, and I wasn't able to capitalize on it. So when this one came up and it popped up to me, I like tried to make sure I could do everything I could to put the ball in the back of the net. And then when I saw it go in, I was a bit surprised at first. I think you can see that with just running around, not really knowing what to do. And then once it settled in, I was like, okay, like I've scored my first pro goal. Let me go celebrate with the team. And yeah, it was an amazing feeling. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been with the squad, so going into the game, I was a little bit nervous. Spoke to my mom back home, and she was saying, imagine the feeling of scoring a goal and how that makes you feel, and like use that to like motivate you in the game. And as cliched as it is, a goal came, so it was just like a great feeling. It was kind of like a full circle moment, I could say. But yeah, again, it's the first of many. I've been planning this in my head for a while, so when I got that opportunity and it finally settled in, I knew that, okay, yeah, this is the celebration I wanted.
Just for a young player like Malik, he's new to the league. He's new to the North American game. He played a lot of his soccer in the UK. To get that goal after he's been great defensively this season, but now you have a goal under your belt. You're heading into the playoffs. It all seems to be coming together, and confidence is a huge thing for a young player.
Yeah, definitely. This is a big moment for him to be able to get on the end of that and finish it in a big moment. As today was, Forge needed that win, so it's an exhilarating moment for him. It was obviously a great finish. He definitely needs to take this as a stepping stone and continue to go forward with it. He knows his capabilities. Bobby mentioned how great he is in training and showing his abilities. So as long as he continues to do what he did today, I think he's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm. And that goal came off a set piece.
Yes.
So did the second one. So Forge did get their second goal. Sissoko, it was either a screamer or a banger. There was a debate about whether we should call it a screamer or a banger. It was a beautiful goal. We'll just put it at that. And it was a poor clear by York, but banger.
Yeah.
Poor clearance by York, but again, off of a set piece. Before we talk about that, let's go down to Bobby again, because Bobby's talked about it a lot. Like he always says, throw-ins are the most important part of the game, and his point is that the details, the smaller things, anytime there's a chance and anytime you have possession, you want to do something with it. And in Forge's case, they like to take the ball short off the corner, and Bobby talked about that during his post-match media conference.
If you look at I think everyone looks at the statistics and the coaches, so I'm not going to give away a secret here, Ed, but everyone really defends the box. So a lot of times we can talk about set plays that get put into the area, but you're playing to a wall that's set up. Any movement, because you can play a small touch, hit it in, it gets everyone to shift and move out of position. So we like to use them. We've scored directly off direct corner kicks. We've scored off of these little combination and the short ones. We have players that can play football. In a game, if you give somebody a 2v1 or a 3v2 situation on the wing, I think you go and you play there. So what's the difference with the corner?
Yeah, so success off of the set pieces for Forge FC, and when those are the details that Bobby talks about. And you were talking about it throughout the match. Sometimes these games come down to those details, and set pieces are a big part of that.
Yeah, set pieces have the ability to change the entirety of the match. So, something as simple as a throw-in, like Bobby's mentioned, if you're able to get that quick throw-in when the back line is not set up, you're able to perhaps get, a scoring opportunity, perhaps score off of it. So there is a lot of opportunity off of set pieces, and, Bobby mentioned on the short corners, it causes somebody to be drawn out, and it really does open up space and create hecticness within that box. A lot of teams defend the box, and it's very difficult to score off of a typical swing in corner. So yeah, they had a lot of success tonight with the corner kicks and all the set pieces. I would say throw-ins I believe could have been a little better, a little cleaner, but yeah, overall I would say that they play a massive role in changing the game, and today it changed the momentum of the game for Forge for sure.
Yeah, and when they play the ball short, and Bobby talked about it, but a lot of teams in this league like to crowd the box with defenders, and they're essentially giving you a free pass. And teams, I would imagine in training, you are practicing how to defend some of these set pieces. But when the ball's taken short, all of that's thrown out the window, because whatever you're training, now all of a sudden it's a little more chaotic and players kind of lose their man and things get it's more exploitable, I guess, for the attacking club.
I mean, typically there is somebody that has that responsibility. They're dealing with that short, but at the same time you are obviously dropped into that 18. You have to be on the edge of it. So you're not getting out there quick enough sometimes.
Right.
You saw that with the first goal. Borges was able to take his touch and perfectly place it. I do believe it possibly would have went in without the header, but it was a great finish. Not to say, not to take away from that.
Malik scored his first
goal.
Yeah,
it was amazing. I swear. No, but seriously, he had the time on the ball. He was able to see that he was able to chip that keeper, and so it does create hecticness for the defensive team to have to send somebody out and just a lot of hecticness within that box.
Yeah, and then players aren't marked the way they were initially. So it's an interesting setup now because Forge have 2 matches remaining. We'll try and get the math right here. So Forge are 4 points back of Ottawa. Ottawa, though, 1 match left, Forge with 2. So Forge is going to need Ottawa to lose. Ottawa's last match against York this weekend at home. So York could play a big role in Forge getting that top seed if they can beat Ottawa and do Forge a favor. And like we saw, York still has plenty to play for. This is the kind of league, it's the nature of it. There's always something to play for because these players, they're playing for their careers, for their livelihoods, for if they have aspirations beyond the CPL. You never know who's watching, as I've said before. So there's always something to play for, and it's the last match of the season. This might be a player's last opportunity to showcase what they can do for next year. So, yeah, the motivation has to be there regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether you are making it into the playoffs, you're fighting for a top, 2 spot, for example, as Forge was tonight. If they didn't get the win, it would have been a massive upset in a sense. York came here and they're playing for pride. They're not there's nothing really on the line for them. But at the same time, as a player, it's never right to say that because you come out every day and you put your body on the line and you're fighting for to make it to the next level. Or there's a lot of young players, you see a lot of these 18-year-olds and they're just at the beginning of their careers and they're fantastic players and they have a lot to prove. So this is a perfect time for, for example, York, a team like York, they have a ton of great players that are young, that are able to showcase who they are for next season and are able to develop. I definitely think regardless of the position you're in, there's always something to fight for.
Yeah, it's not like these are athletes that have signed 8-year deals and are just trying to get through the last game without getting hurt for next season. They might be playing for a contract next season. So this is a big match for York rather, and for Forge, because I'm sure they'll be watching because the York-Ottawa match is on Saturday. Forge's final game is on Sunday against Halifax. Midweek match for Forge against Pacific. That's Wednesday night. I do want to throw down, though, to captain. It was Dom Zator who for York, and he spoke post-match about possibly being there to play spoiler and help Forge. They're not looking at it as helping Forge. I just want to throw that in there. They're not looking to help Forge at all. But they are going to be playing to win that final match against Ottawa. And that's what Zator had to say.
Yeah, it's always nice to be one of the teams that can cause a little bit of chaos. So we're going to go in there and try to cause as much chaos as we can. Yeah, maybe disrupt Ottawa, their last home game prior to the playoffs, just to make things a little bit more interesting. So we're going to go in there, nothing to lose, everything to gain. So we're excited for that. And we've got one more game to play, and we're gonna bring everything to that game, finish on a high, and there's still a lot to play for. Everybody's still trying to fight for contracts and things like that moving forward, and just having a little bit of pride. Each game does matter, so we're just looking forward to the next game now.
All right, so York promises they're going to try and beat Ottawa, not for Forge or for the fans, for themselves.
Definitely not for Forge.
No, but we'll take it either way. Before we sign off, we can't, Dominick Zator was on it for his 100th match. David Choiniere played in his 100th match. He will be honored in one of the final 2 matches. I was able to catch up with David as he was leaving the field after the match, and here's what he had to say.
It's a big achievement for me because when you start playing professional, you look for continuity. You want to keep playing. You want to keep. If you reach 100 games because you're doing something good and you're healthy, you keep playing. So that's the goal, and I want to keep going.
All right, so congratulations to David Choiniere for hitting 100. One of, I don't know if I can keep track anymore. Kyle Becker hit 100. Tristan Henry, Ashton Yodi-Janssen, Dominick Zator, and now David Choiniere. So I think that's 5. I'm not the greatest at math, but I believe that's 5. So
that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and it's impressive for the club because these guys have been here, and Well, Bobby talked about it after the match. The fact that not just Aviv, but these guys that have hit 100, it's more than just hitting a number because they've been contributing. They've been through a lot, as Bobby will tell you in moments, because they've been here for the 2 championships, the loss in the final. I mean, CONCACAF. So here's Bobby post-match about David and all of his players that have hit 100.
You know, with all of these guys, just tremendous. We're coming to the end of 4 years, and this means that these guys have been here for 4 years, battling for this club. They've been through everything, you know, through winning championships, through being in difficult situations, in playing in CONCACAF away from home in pandemics, qualifying for Champions League, losing in a final, losing a heartbreaker in the Dominican Republic. That I think made us better, but if you look at what these guys have done, who I guess are part of this 100 game club, they've been here right from the beginning, and they've seen all the ups and the downs and a lot more ups, and these are the guys we lean on for all of these situations that we're coming forward to. So it's another great achievement. David's been a fantastic player for us, not only in league play, but in CONCACAF and all CONCACAF competitions. He's been an absolute gem playing there. And he's a very important player for us. You see his contributions today and his work on that right wing. He's been fantastic. And, you know, whether it's here or he keeps on going, I hope he has another 100 in front of him.
All right, so your final, again, from Tim Hortons Field here in Hamilton, 2-0 in favor of Forge FC. They clinch a playoff spot. I don't even know if I mentioned that up the top, but it's because, I'll tell you why. Forge will tell you over and over again, they have higher aspirations. Maybe they haven't said this, but I'll say it for them. I think making the playoffs was kind of their bare minimum in terms of goals this year. They have bigger goals for sure. So 2 more matches left, both at home. Wednesday against Pacific, Sunday against Halifax, and you're probably going to keep your eyes on that Saturday match between York and Ottawa. That's the match in review.
I'm Jess Lisi.
I'm Anthony Urciuoli. We'll talk to you soon.
This has been Match in Review with Anthony Urciuoli on the Forge Audio Network. For the latest on all things Forge FC, subscribe on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.